All right, we are live. Good morning, Amy. Good afternoon where you are.
Good morning to you. Thank you so much, Carla.
Yes, and as we can all see with everybody who's watching, Amy is driving, but she assures us she's safe.
I'm very safe, I promise, extremely safe.
Awesome, awesome. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some sharing, and you can introduce yourself so everybody knows who you are.
Sure.
So go ahead. You can.
Okay, sure,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I am Amy Messick. Let's see, what is there to know about myself? I don't really profess to be in any one particular industry. It's more of the building materials industry.
Mm-hmm.
I have a very diverse background. So I have had professional pursuits in flooring and synthetic turf and chemicals and adhesives. I've done spray foam chemical. I've done spray foam equipment. So I've done a little bit of everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
You have done you weren't kidding.
I was not kidding. I am fondly known of in the glue world as the Chatsworth glue girl.
There you go.
So yeah, I know a little bit about a lot. Jack of all, master of none. So if you ask me a question, chances are I know a little something about it.
And a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. Yes, ma'am.
And
yes,
where are you? Where do you work right now?
So right now I am working at Stay at Home Mom.
Okay.
I took a small break. I was working for Spray Foam Systems. And
right.
The reason that I've taken this break is because on top of managing my professional pursuits, I was also going to college, trying to get a BA in finance and economics management. And I was unable to do both anymore due to the amount of travel that I was doing. So I've taken some time off to wrap up my education because it's extremely important to me.
Right.
So that's kind of what I'm doing at the moment.
And
now I do have a business. Like I have a business that I run. I'm an independent beauty consultant for Mary Kay. So I do do a lot of things. You know, on top of selling spray foam equipment, I'm also into skincare. So,
there we go. Very cool.
I know.
And do share how many kids you have.
So, yes, I am happy to share. So I have 8 children. I have 7 sons and 1 daughter. And no, she is not the youngest. She's 5, and I have a 3-year-old son. So the age ranges are from 20 to 3.
Oh, my word. That's an age range.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. 7 of them still live at home. My oldest, my 20-year-old, lives off on his own with my 15-month-old granddaughter.
Wow. That is crazy. You know, it's always interesting to me because we've had a few people on and they have like more than 3 kids. I can't remember all the numbers, but I'm always shocked. Holy smokes, like that's a lot of kids.
It is a lot of kids, but it's cheaper by the dozen. It is.
Oh, there you go.
It's cheaper by the dozen. Yeah.
They start taking care of each other.
They do. So we're really fortunate in our age range to where we have some older children mixed in with the younger children.
Right.
So it helps. It helps.
Yeah.
And everybody is always like, you must live in so much chaos. And it's really not, because everybody pitches in and they help, and it's not like that at all.
Makes it easier.
It does.
Yeah. I was a part of a large family for a little while, and honestly, it was quite it was interesting because that's exactly like the older ones. You know, there's a job kind of for everybody, and everybody takes care of each other, and it ran very, very smoothly. So yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So it's fun. So, but that's part of the need that I had. I was juggling a lot. You know, I was traveling a lot, probably 75% of my time.
Yeah.
A large family, and then my educational pursuits on top of it. And it was it was a choice. Like, I could take a year off and finish up my education,
Mm-hmm.
or I was going to have to just not do the education. And for me, one of my values that I'm teaching my children is that you start something, you finish it.
Very
And
good.
education is so super important. It's
Mm-hmm.
so important. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like in traditional college. Technical school, go to
Yes.
technical school, get into a trade, get
Right.
into building and construction, because there's a deficit now in the market for that, for skilled labor. And if you go and you
Right.
get the knowledge to do so, you can make a really good career for yourself and be compensated well. So I'm all about education with my kids.
Yes, and I think that is part of the problem when it comes to the trades, and we've talked about this in other lives, but people don't understand you can make a very good living in the trades industry.
Yes, you
Very
can.
good. Yeah,
It's a lucrative business. You
for
can make
sure.
a very good living for yourself and your family
Mm-hmm.
in trades.
Yeah.
Please, please, please. I'm all about continuing education, but there's another avenue that you can go down. It doesn't necessarily have to be a professional pursuit. Not to
Right.
say that it's not admirable, but there's a need in the trades world for good, dependable workers who are willing to step up
Yeah.
and make the difference.
Well, and I think too, it's that not everybody is cut out to go to college.
They're
It
not.
is just not everybody's,
They're
you
not.
know, some
My
people,
oldest son is like that.
yeah. And I think it would be, and they probably still do this in certain places, but it's that thing where I know they used to have in the province that I was in for a little while where I lived, you had kids that were not, that wasn't their academics, wasn't their strengths, hands-on learning was. So
Yes.
they would be able to get credits towards graduating high school by doing work experience during school hours. So they
Oh,
could
that's
go
cool.
to, like a local business that was a mechanical or auto body or something in the trades industry, and for like half their day they could go and be trained, and then that went towards their education. So it should be brought back because it's a dying thing for
It is.
sure.
It
Yeah,
is dying.
everybody's crying for helpers and workers and they can't find them, and yeah, it's tough.
It is. It
It's
is.
tough for sure. So how did you manage? I ask my men this question too when they come on, because we always get asked the question, but I know there'll be a number of women watching that, they're trying to do the stay at home mom, but they're also doing a business as well, or, working kind of in between, juggling kids' activities and stuff. So how did you manage all of that when you were traveling and working and
Um, I'll be real honest with you. I have a phenomenal husband. Like,
Mhm.
I can't even begin to sing his praises enough. I
And
have
congratulations, you guys got married
We
recently.
did.
Yes,
We
you did.
did. January the 4th was when we officially tied the knot, and had everything done up properly.
Yeah.
Uh, but he is my rock. He's my foundation. He literally holds together 7 kids by himself when I'm traveling.
Mhm.
Now we do have phenomenal support with family. His mom is just worth her weight in gold,
Yeah.
and her sisters too. So that's
Mhm.
that's really really why I was able to excel like I have been, is because of the support that I had at home.
Right.
Um, that and to be honest with you, just like all women, strong organizational skills and multitasking. Not to say
Right.
that men don't possess those skills as well, but um, I I've been fortunate enough in my career of late to where I had some leeway with
Mhm.
my personal schedule that would allow me to move my personal stuff around my professional stuff. So that was extremely beneficial as well. Um,
Right.
I've had the distinct privilege of working for companies who allowed you to have a family and
Mhm.
understood that you had a family and did not make you feel guilty for loving your
Mhm.
family.
Yeah.
So that's played a significant part in it as well. And if I could express anything to any organization out there is understand that your people are people, that they have families, and support them in their personal pursuits as well as their professional pursuits, and you will have people who are so much more effective and productive in their careers because you allow them to have that.
Right. And that is a huge thing. I remember when my kids were little, I worked in the insurance industry at that time, but it was tough because both my now ex-husband and I both worked. And when somebody is sick, you have to take that time off. And that's not an understanding thing, and it's tough because from the business owner side, it's a little bit different, I think, now, because it's more of people are more family oriented, or I like to think that anyways. It's not so much that how it was back when my kids were growing up, and it's like you have to work. And I could say I was one of those people that would be like, are you kidding? Like, how many times is your kid going to be sick? And I had kids.
Yeah.
But it was like that mentality was driven into you where you don't miss. It's kind of like if you're sick, you don't miss work either.
Yes. Oh, no.
Right?
I went to work with 102 fever before, just sick to death because you had to go to work.
Yeah. Because what's going to happen? It'll fall apart without me.
That's it.
Right.
That's it. It'll fall apart without me. And a lot of times what happens, I think it depends on where you're at in your career. I think that hourly workers struggle with it more than salary workers do. And I was in that position once. I started out on the plant floor. I learned how to run machinery when I was 18 years old. It's called a hydrojet. It's a water jet that uses water to cut through materials.
Right.
But I remember at that time, missing a day of work. It was hard. Mm-hmm. It was rough.
The guilt.
Yes.
The guilt.
The guilt. Oh, if I don't go to work. Oh, not just the responsibility to your family, but your employer too. It's awful. And I think for women, we're more emotional of the sexes. And I think it affects me a little bit more than it does my husband. He's which is not to say that Greg doesn't handle his emotions. It's just he's much more technical minded than I am. So,
right. I think that is a lot of the cases. Yes, I agree, because it is, and that's what balances us out, right?
Yes, ma'am, it is. It is.
I've been on here talking about men need to be, like this, like stuffing their emotions stuff is bad, but like there is that balance where the emotional one and the maybe less emotional, it balances each other out. And when you're both working, you've got family, life is busy, you need to have that balance.
You do.
Yeah.
You do.
For sure. So how did you get started in the building industry, like in general?
So let's see. I know this isn't, women don't tell their ages, but I'm 36 years old.
We can talk about ages. It's okay. You're a baby still.
Oh my goodness. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Tell my children that. Tell my children that. Golly day. I am a spring chicken. That's what I tell them all the time. Spring chicken. I was 18 years old when I wouldn't say go to work. I had my first job when I was 9. I started out bussing tables at a little restaurant
at 9.
At 9.
Wow.
It's called the Nantahala Village and Resort in Bryson City, North Carolina. That's where I'm from originally. Is Bryson City. And so I started out cleaning tables in a little restaurant in that facility, and have pretty much worked ever since. But my professional career started when I went to work for a company called Niche Graphic Flooring. And I literally started out on the plant floor. So I went in and interviewed for an office job. And in the interview, the man thought that I would be much better suited running equipment.
Very good.
I don't know how that come upon,
Right.
but that's really what happened. Is I went into work in the office, and he calls me a couple days later, and he's like, "Hey, look, you didn't come in for this, but I have something that I think that you would be good at." And I was like, "Okay, sure, why not? Let's try this."
That's funny. Yeah.
So it's they make custom inlaid mats is what they are. So think of logos.
Mm-hmm.
They we could put your face into a mat, take different colors of carpet, cut them out,
Okay. Yeah.
and then put them together like a puzzle.
Right.
Slap some adhesive and a backing on there, and you're good
Mm-hmm.
to go.
Right.
We actually there is a dinosaur in the museum in New York, and it's inlaid into the floor, and we actually created that
Oh,
years and
very
years and years
cool.
ago. Yeah, super cool, super cool.
Yeah.
But they brought me in, and I ended up running a hydrojet. It's a piece of equipment that uses pressurized water to cut through all kinds of substrates, from wood to metal to flooring to carpet to turf.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, anything that you can think of, it can cut through.
Right.
So I started out running that piece of equipment, um, and did it for several years. I'm
Mm-hmm.
also able to operate a sonic cutter that uses sonic vibrations with a knife to cut
Okay.
things.
Yeah.
Can drive a forklift and a pole and a squeeze and
Nice.
all of those wonderful things.
Yeah.
Um, but ended up running the laminator, so I was well versed in all of the equipment in this
Mm-hmm.
particular facility. And as time went on, there was
Okay.
opportunities for me to advance and to grow. So I moved on,
Mm-hmm.
took over inventory, started handling the inventory until eventually they decided that they would like for me to run their facility. So I became their production manager and did that for quite some
Oh,
time.
okay.
Had about 20 or 25 people up and under me. And it was really, it was a great opportunity. Great
Mm-hmm.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed my time there.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I met a lady by the name of Maggie Kruger, who owns a company in Chatsworth, Georgia,
Mm-hmm.
called Adhesive Technologies. And she thought that I was everything that she needed to come and run her business in Chatsworth.
Okay.
Uh, and our specialty was in adhesives and glues for the synthetic turf world.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I got into turf and into adhesives and glues. And while working for Maggie, I helped design and implement and write 5 United States patents
Wow.
for the turf and adhesive and flooring worlds. So
That is not an easy process, writing a
it,
patent.
no,
Holy
ma'am, it is
cow.
not. No, it is not.
Yeah.
Was able to learn how to do trademarks as well. So I
Yeah.
trademarked a couple of things, and my official title was marketing manager, but it does not begin to encompass all the lovely things that I got to do while I was there. I oversaw
Right.
production, the whole 9 yards. So corporate offices were located in Sarasota, Florida,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where Maggie resided, and manufacturing facilities were in Chatsworth, Georgia. So I was the lady who made sure that that ran for her the way that it needed to. So bunch of glue, bunch of tapes, had so much fun, lots of research and development. That's really my passion. I like to look at something and figure out how we can make it better.
Okay.
Efficiency for me is where I love to shine. Is how can we improve upon this?
Right.
How can we make it better? How can we improve quality while making that dollar go just as far as we possibly can? So
Right. Which is huge in running a business for
it
sure.
is huge in running a business.
Yeah.
So got a lot of experience there doing that kind of stuff. And then several years back, Maggie decided that she was ready to get out of the business.
Mm-hmm.
So she asked me to close shop at the Chatsworth office. And it was that was very difficult for me.
Yeah.
It was extremely difficult for me, but it was a good thing because I ended up going to Spray Foam Systems. And
Okay.
how that happened was is
Mm-hmm.
some of the research and development that I had used. I used a Graco XP70
Right.
with some of my patents, but we weren't spraying foam, we were spraying polyurea. So I know about polyureas, I know about
Mm-hmm.
coatings, I know about
Mm-hmm.
all of that lovely stuff because of there, but
Mm-hmm.
that's how the relationship had been built, was because of the guys at Spray Foam Systems. So I got to take my knowledge of that equipment and move it into the foam world. So
Very cool. It's always interesting to me how people like how do they come into the industry? How does that happen? And it's always an interesting story how that happens. Wow. That's and you were with Spray Foam Systems for how long?
almost 2 years.
Right.
Almost 2 years, and loved it. Really did. I
Yeah.
learned so much,
I
so
saw you
much
in
while I was there.
videos.
So much while I was
Hmm.
there.
Yeah.
Really, really great opportunity. Um,
Hmm.
I'm deeply appreciative for the time that I had there.
Right. And then after Spray Foam Systems transferred and transitioned into
So this whole time I have a consulting business. It's called TEC. It's
okay.
Textile Engineer Consulting. So I do that. Uh, People
Hmm.
call me, they have a problem, we talk about it and see how we can fix it. Primarily in floorings and seam and tapes and some in turf. Um, so I do that as well.
Hmm.
But in the interim, I go to school. So, and I've been doing that the whole time. I've really wanted to have a degree to tack
Hmm.
on to my knowledge. It's a personal pursuit that I've
Right. Yeah.
always wanted. So I do the consulting. I have the Mary Kay business that I do as well, that I
Right.
operate, and then I go to school and I have my kids and Greg.
How honest, like that is a lot.
Can you just imagine when I
Holy
was
smokes.
traveling like I was traveling, Carla, 75% of my time, and I was managing all of that on top of the travel. It
You
was
have to be extremely organized to do that.
I have 5 calendars, okay? 5.
Yeah, I believe you.
There's the whiteboard at the house, there's my phone calendar, there's the calendar that I carry with me
Right.
in my bag. I mean, they're everywhere. Yes, yes.
So what made you take on the Mary Kay on top of your consulting business and everything else? Why, what was that? Why did you do that?
To be
I'm
with
very intrigued because you weren't busy enough.
100% transparency, I have
Yeah.
been in a male-dominated industry my whole life.
Right.
My whole life. And I want to be around more women. I
Got
just
it.
want to be around women. It's about building up women and encouraging
Hmm.
them and giving them confidence. Look,
Hmm.
is this will fade. It will
Yeah.
fade. I just want to empower women. I want them to know that they're bold and they're brave and they're beautiful and that they can do anything
Right.
that they set their mind into, and Mary Kay just happens to be that vehicle for me.
Got
It
it.
allows me to become closer to women.
Yeah.
And so that's really what it is.
That's the thing I was saying when I was down in Pasadena was there obviously it's more men than women there, but that was my one thing I said. We need to see the women
The
at
women.
these conferences more. We need to see the spouses more. We need that because those people maybe they're not in the industry maybe, but they are supporting that industry. They
They
need to be
are.
seen. They're a huge component of why people are successful. They
Yes.
need to be seen. So I was like, that was my big thing. I want to see next year, I want to see a lot more females at that event for sure.
Yes. Yes.
It's there's still that thing where they're the the quote unquote wife, and I don't really do anything. I'm just home with the kids. And get out of here with
Whatever.
that. Like, that's
Whatever.
crazy. Exactly. That's not you're just at home with the kids. That's probably the most important thing you can do in your life.
It is. It
Right?
is. You are raising tomorrow's adults.
Yeah.
You are raising tomorrow's adults. It is
Yeah.
so crucial. And you hold it together while your men are out doing whatever it is that they need to do.
Yeah.
It's not insignificant or inferior. They are
Mm-hmm.
vital. Women are
Right.
vital to the success of their spouse, of their homes,
Mm-hmm.
of their families. It doesn't matter if you're a stay-at-home mom or you're corporate America.
Right.
You are important. You're vital, and we need to bring more women into the building materials industry.
Yeah.
They've got to be there. I mean, they're already there. And
Mm-hmm.
what I would say is the ones of us that are in there, encourage one another, love 100%. On one another, support one another. Look, I'm in the Badass Women of Spray Foam group, and I'm telling you, I love those women. They are phenomenal women. I mean, can lay down some of the most beautiful butter I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
Gorgeous stuff.
And contrary to popular belief, there has not been one altercation, bad word. There's not been anything. And we've got, how many are in there now? I think there's 80 of us in there now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they encourage each other. And it's amazing.
It
amazing.
Is. Yeah.
We need that.
They needed a voice, and it was important that they had one. And all of a sudden they're coming out and they're starting to share more. And it's like, yes. Like, every time I see a post in there, I smile, because I'm like,
yes, it's amazing.
Keep sharing. Yeah. Because there's just so many incredible women in this industry. There's
so many.
Behind the scenes. We know a few of them because they're out there and they've been in the industry for a long time. And it's nice to see some of the ones who they maybe have been in the industry for a long time, but have been quiet.
Yes.
And that's nice to see, because in a male-dominated industry, it's hard to have that voice, maybe.
It is. It is. It's difficult. There are many times in my professional life where I have been the only woman at the board table. The only one. And it's challenging. It has its own challenges.
Yes, it does.
And whether they're stereotypes that have been ingrained into us or whatever it is, it's a challenge. It is a challenge. You go into these things and you're moving against the grain. You're moving against the grain. And it's not that people won't accept change. It's just, it's uncomfortable and it's difficult. But discomfort brings growth. It brings
100%.
growth.
Yeah.
Brings growth.
It's one of the reasons why I wanted to, I was saying to a couple of the ladies that were there, Lisa Bilbin was one, Robin Pence was one. There were a few others that I was saying, we need to have more, we need to have them here more, because here's why. When I went and got my pass, and Rex was with me, my pass, the person who's involved in spray foam worldwide and in this, he is not. My pass said spouse on it. Yeah. Total that's
it's a stigma. It's a stigma.
That's why we need a voice.
Oh, golly.
I looked at
Carla,
it and I was
I'm sorry.
No, I started laughing. I looked at it and I said, I'm happy to be I love being his spouse. But you know what? At this event, he's my spouse. And she just kind of looked at me. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, it's all good. It's all good. But it's that assumption that, you know what? Oh, it's his wife coming with him.
Yeah.
We need to get rid of that. That's why we need to hear from the women in the industry more.
It is. Because there are women in there.
100%. And fantastic women. They're incredible, as we see in that group. Just
inspiring.
Gosh, their knowledge is amazing. And and have kids and have a family, and they're doing the same as everybody else. it's, you have to, it was Shauna Henderson and I talked about this. We have to step our game up a little bit more. So it always makes us strive to be that much better.
That much more.
And it's not trying to prove we're better than men, or because that's a whole thing that isn't the case either.
No.
We just want, like, we're here doing our job and we do it well.
That's right. Just acknowledge it, please.
Exactly.
Just a little acknowledgement.
That's right. So you've been in this industry your whole career.
My whole career.
So what have been some of the biggest challenges you've faced, would you say?
Being a woman has been difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of it is it's just stigmas is all that it is. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I have come across them thinking just because you have a pretty face that there's not necessarily in between the ears.
Right.
And that's been difficult for me. It really has. Maybe disbelief that I am educated about what I'm talking about has been hard for me.
Right.
You'd made a comment earlier about my age. That has been difficult for me because I am in particularly in the flooring industry. I'm one of the younger people.
Right.
And you may not necessarily have some of the knowledge that older people have. But what it does is it gives you a fresh set of eyes to look at things when you're thinking about efficiency.
Right.
Because, yes, I may not do it the way that you do it. That doesn't make your way wrong. It doesn't make my way better. It's just different.
Right.
Just different. So that's been some of my hurdles is I'm just different. I just don't look at things the way that you do. So I think another thing that I've had difficulty with is I'm ballsy. I don't mind to be direct and upfront. And again, a stigma. Women are not supposed to be that way.
Right. Yeah.
We're not supposed to be that way. So that has been a challenge for me, my personality, overcoming my personality.
Yeah.
It's a loud one, okay? It's a loud one. So
I don't know that overcoming, I think that's a benefit because you have to be, that's the thing, you get to be heard. If you're loud, you get to be heard. But yeah, it can be that I know I have my own moments of being loud as well. I'm just going to read a couple of comments here.
Sure.
Shauna Pace.
Hi, Shauna.
Not just here to make sandwiches is what I told one guy. We're not just getting coffee and sandwiches.
That's it. Do you want me to wear a skirt too? Would you like me to do that too? Yeah.
Exactly. So in those I guess in those hurdles, you've overcome them obviously because you've been very successful in this industry. And so it becomes now, and I think too, when you say your age is a factor, it is because, and I think that goes for both guys and for women.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
When people get into that, they've been in the industry for a long time and it's this way and you get that new way of thinking about things, or why don't we try it this way? Well, how would you know that? Because you're too young. Right. And it's a stigma, and it's an unfair one because, like you said, a fresh set of eyes and sometimes a fresh way to look at things can be the whole difference.
It can. As an example to that, when I worked for Maggie, she had me go and look at one of her processes. It was substantial contributor to the revenues for the company every year.
Mm-hmm.
And she had me really look at it, look at the materials we were using, look at the speed rate that the machine was going. And after my research, I was able to cut production costs by 25% without sacrificing quality. The quality of the material was there. It was good. We were just able to look at how we were allocating our resources and saw a 25% reduction in cost.
Wow, that's impressive.
But all it was is just somebody different going in and having a look at it.
Yeah.
Just looking at it a little differently. We just looked at it different. So it works. It does work.
It does work. And I think that's when you have a good team or a good group of people that you can throw ideas around, throw stuff out there that, you know what, I'm going to just put this out here. It may sound crazy, but like, here, let's have it, you know, give this a listen and see if it will work. Because why not give it a try, right?
Yes, ma'am. Why not? What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
You got to have, sometimes you get a whole lot of no's before you find a yes.
Exactly.
It takes the no's to get to the yes.
Right. That's right. Yeah. So when did you start doing your Mary Kay business?
I've been doing Mary Kay for a couple of months now.
Mm-hmm.
And I like it. I like it. Just, it's the women. I did not know how much I had truly missed interacting with women.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the driving thing behind it, is just talking to women. Talking to women. So I've been doing it a couple of months, and I've found some success with it. But it's primarily about giving, not getting with this.
Right.
I like giving myself. I like being around the women. I like talking to them. I have a diverse background, as we've discussed. And I've been through some things in life, as everybody has. So I'm hoping that my story with these women that I encounter just lets them see that you just keep going. You just got to be scrappy, and you've got to have perseverance and determination and confidence and a boldness to step out when things seem like you can't.
Right.
So that's how I measure success with Mary Kay.
Yeah, exactly. So you've gone from traditional business really into Mary Kay is, I guess, in the multi-level marketing
I think
realm
so.
of things, I guess.
That's how I would call it, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what would you say that you notice are the big differences in those two types of businesses?
So,
because I think that type of business has a whole stigma wrapped around it.
It does.
Just in general.
It does. So let me be very clear with how I view it. There is multi-level marketing to it, but that part isn't for me. Like,
okay.
I run my business for me. If you come along and think that you're interested in it, okay, we can talk about that. But for me, it's like I have my own business. It's essentially just like running Adhesive Technologies again for me.
Okay.
And that's how it functions for me.
Right.
I do my own purchase orders. I count my own inventory. You know, it's the same structure in a way.
Yeah.
But it depends on the individual, like how they want to run their business. And for me, it's a business,
right,
through and through. I mean, there is, you invest, and you can make, you can cover your costs, you can make profit. It's the same. It's the same, like at its core. Right. It's the same kind of thing. So I may not be the best one to ask, but it's because of how my mind wraps around it. It's a business. Now, I will tell you, it closely resembles sales. I mean, it's just sales to sales to sales. And I've sold something my whole life, just about.
Right.
From flooring to turf to adhesives to equipment to chemicals. So it's really just a new product in a new industry. But people that I get to surround myself with are women.
Right.
It's women. So
Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
But like I said, I probably handle it differently than some other women do.
Yeah.
But it's probably due to my background.
So you have the freedom to run it however you want. Like you're not set into, because I think that's a misconception too, that you get involved in these companies and there's like, it's a strict and you got to do it this way and there's
Oh
no
no,
other way to do it. So you can
no,
run it
no.
however you
However I
want.
want. If I want to have stocked inventory on my shelf, I can. If I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to, I don't have to. They can order it and they can bring it in. If I can advertise on social media,
Mm-hmm.
however I see fit. Now they do have some rules, that they
Yeah.
ask you to abide by, like not using their hashtags inappropriately and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that would be in any business that
Yeah.
you're in.
That makes
When I
sense.
when I worked for spray foam systems or adhesive technologies, there was a code of ethics, there was rules and governance that you had to
Mm-hmm.
work by. So it's the same, it's along the same kind of lines as that.
Right.
But you are truly self-employed. Like if you
Right.
don't get up and go to work, there's not a paycheck coming in.
That's right.
Um,
What you
so
what you put in is what you get out.
exactly, exactly. So
Mm-hmm.
no, and there is a stigma that surrounds that type of business.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like with any business. If you mismanage it, it's going to be that way. It is really whatever that you put into it is what you're
Right.
going to get out of it. That's what you're
Right.
going to get out of it. So
Yeah. Yeah. What does your husband do for work?
Greg is, oh my gosh, he is hands down the smartest man I've ever met in my life. Just
Mm-hmm.
crazy smart. He is technical services manager for Chilliwack Sultan in
Okay.
Chatsworth, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
So his title does not necessarily encumber all that he does.
Yeah.
His passion, just like his wife, is research and development. We like
Got
to,
it.
yeah, he looks at things and figures out how to make them better.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Fiber textile engineering is his passion and his
Mm-hmm.
pursuit. Uh, he's also a second generation flooring installer, owned his own business for many, many years. I'm
Mm-hmm.
telling you something, this man can lay floor like nobody's business.
Yeah.
It sets my motor running. Okay. He can lay some floor. He does
Yeah.
such a good job.
Mm-hmm.
But his dad started out in the business, and then Greg went to Georgia Tech, and after Georgia Tech, uh, went to work in a partnership with his dad, and they
Mm-hmm.
laid floors for many, many years, any kind of flooring that you can think of. So
Right.
we actually met through Cub Scouts. He was
Oh, very
my
cool.
now 11-year-old son's den leader when Daniel started Cub Scouts in the
Mm-hmm.
first grade. And Daniel and Noah, Greg's son, were actually in Cub Scouts together. And then our relationship started to grow
Mm-hmm.
when we became friends. When
Right.
he had a project that he brought to me. And let me tell you a funny story. You're going to love this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I tell everybody this story.
Yeah.
So when I first met Greg,
Mm-hmm.
I knew he was a flooring installer, and I developed a new seam tape, and I was trying to get somebody to try it.
Yeah.
And I went to him, and I was like, hey, I have some tape that I'd like you to try. He laughed at me, laughed in my face.
Great start. Great start.
I know, laughed in my face, like
Yeah.
totally blew me off.
Yeah.
Totally blew me off.
Mm-hmm.
And then about 6 months later, he comes and he's like, do you want to work on a project with me? And I said, excuse me?
Yeah. Pardon.
Do I what? Do I what? He said, I need a tape. Would you be interested in helping me develop the tape? I was like, okay, sure, why not? So that's when we became friends. Is
Oh,
when we
that's
started.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I helped him develop
Mm-hmm.
a seam tape for one of his products at work. So yeah,
Nice. That's
yeah,
very cool.
yeah.
And I think with everything that you both do, it takes a united front to
Yes,
do and make sure that everything, like you say, like you're organized and all that stuff. But behind the scenes, it takes two people who have each other's back.
it does. It
Yeah.
does. And I'm extremely fortunate, extremely fortunate. We work very well together. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's a team. I can't explain it to you. Like when we are working on anything, whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is, I intuitively know what I need to do. He intuitively knows what he needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
We do it, and then it all kinds of blends together. It
Right.
is strange. You should see it, Carla. I mean,
Yeah.
look, and when I sit back and look at it from the outside looking in, I'm thinking, how is this possible?
Right.
How is this possible? But it just does. I don't know how we
Mm-hmm.
do it, but we really work in conjunction with one another.
Right.
It's fact. I study everything, so I'm constant. I'm like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? It's like he
Research
reads
and
my mind.
development.
That's it. But
Yeah.
when it comes to stuff like that, it's like he really is able to read my mind, and he
Mm-hmm.
anticipates where I'm about to go, and I do the same for him, and that's how I knew that we belonged together. Is
Yeah.
that way? Like
I
if I'm in the kitchen working on something, he
mm-hmm.
knows what needs to come right, and we never have to say it to each other. I never have to be like, "Hey, Greg, can you?" And he never has to be like, "Hey, Amy, this needs."
Right.
It's just
You guys just know.
we do. I'm fortunate. I am
Yeah.
fortunate.
Yeah, I mean, it's unique when you find that person, because that is not an easy, that doesn't just happen.
No.
And if anybody's had any life behind them, they know that doesn't always just happen.
It doesn't.
Might
It
take
does.
some time to find that person, which,
Exactly. I
yeah,
had children before I married Greg. Okay, let's be real clear
right?
about that.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I think sometimes too, it's finding that person at a certain stage in your life.
Hmm.
It's meant to be.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I am a much different person at 36 when I met Greg than I would have been at
100%.
26 when I met Greg.
Right.
And I don't know necessarily that
Mm-hmm.
26-year-old Amy would have been able to value Greg the way that 36-year-old Amy does.
With age comes wisdom, as they say, and that is so huge, because respect is the thing that lacks when you're young, I believe.
Yes,
Because,
it does.
and that's just part of life. It's not being like you're a bad person. I think it's just we learn that more as time goes on.
I agree
And
with that.
and the person we're with, if you don't respect them, it's not going to work.
It's not going to work.
Yeah, it's going to be horrible, actually. But
Yes, ma'am.
and that's what I've said to my husband too. It's like, if I met you in my 30s, this wouldn't be a thing. We would not be a thing.
No.
We met at the right time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Isn't that funny how that works?
It is. And I see a lot of young people, and they're like, they want somebody so bad in their life. And I'm like, you know what? Sometimes it might take till you're 40. It might take to find that right person, or in your 30s. Like it's just when that right person comes along, you do just know.
You do just know.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how to explain it.
I don't know
just
if you
know.
can.
You can't until you experience it. There's no explaining it. There's
exactly.
none. But I know rock solid in my foundation that I
Mm-hmm.
met him when I needed to, when it
Right.
was the right time,
Mm-hmm.
the right place. My mind was right, not to say that it wasn't right before. It just wasn't right for Greg then. And it's
right.
at that right spot now. So
yeah.
I'm blessed. I am blessed. God knew what he was doing when he gave me Greg Epperson. I promise you that.
There you go. Yes. And I think it's a beautiful thing when two people can work together and raise a family together and all of that, and still at the end of the day like each other, because that's another thing. You can love somebody, but at the end of the day you genuinely have to like them, I'm
going to tell you something. My kids will shoot me for saying this if they're watching. I love them all the time, but sometimes they do things that I just really do not like. Nobody will understand that like a mother. I love you every day of your life,
Yeah.
but sometimes
I'm not really a fan. Well, and with as many as you have and the ages that vary. So you have all boys and just one girl?
just one girl, my
Okay.
Lily, my little Lillian. I
Yeah.
love her. So she is my, oh my goodness. So to tell you how they're split, because I
Mm-hmm.
did not, disclaimer, I did not give birth to 8 children, people, okay?
Right.
I only gave birth to 4. It was 4.
That's
So
still a lot.
I have 4 biological sons. My oldest son, Jimmy, is 20, and then Jonathan is 16, and Daniel is 11, and then David, the baby, is 3. So those are the ones that I gave birth to, guys, okay?
Yeah.
Now, my other 4 children, and there's no difference, they are
Yep.
mine. Let's be
Right.
very clear about this. There's no
Yes.
his, hers, they are mine. I could
Right.
not love them more if I had given birth to them myself. They are mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my other 4, I have 3 more sons and a daughter. Benjamin is my 13-year-old, and I'm going to tell you something. He's going to do something someday. So, like, I know he is.
Yeah.
He's so smart, just like his daddy. Which all of our children are smart, and they're all going to do wonderful things. But he's just, oh my gosh, Benjamin. So and then Noah, our 10-year-old, and then Connor is our 8-year-old, and then Lily, I'm going to show y'all my little Lily. She was with me.
Bored to death. We bored her right to
sleep. We did.
Oh
but
my gosh.
She is everything that I never knew I needed in life. Like, I'm a boy mom.
Yeah.
Through and through. Always have been, you know. And that child has brought things to my life that I never, ever knew that I needed. Never knew that I needed. She is my sunshine prodigy. I'm telling you, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. And what's so strange is for years I'd told people I had a girl name picked out for all of my sons, and it was the same name because I always wanted a little girl named Lillian. That's what I wanted. And look what God gave me. He gave me my Lillian.
There you go.
He did. And
That's awesome.
So now I know about Barbies and brushing hair.
Yeah.
And how we cry if our dress feels funny.
Right. Sometimes you just have to.
I never knew that we could cry over that kind of thing, and we can. And I'm telling you, Carla, she has taught me things. Oh, she has taught me things. So of all of my sons, Daniel, my 11-year-old, he's always been like my fashion-oriented kid. And I'm so not. Okay, look, I'm not trendy. It's just not. I'm just not.
You're talking to a fashion icon right here.
I am not a trendy lady, okay? I'm the lady who rolls up in the black slacks and the polo, or the golf skirt and the polo. That's what I do. I'm just not. That's just not me. So Daniel, I've always looked at him and I'm like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
Like, how that boy has style for days, and he is so funny and smart. And they are, look, I could talk to you about my kids for hours and hours and hours and hours. They are everything to me.
The question too that I would ask is, blending a family with that many kids, how was that transition for you guys? Was it an easy, hard, in the middle?
So I think we had a unique situation. Greg and I dated for about a year, and the kids did not know.
Right.
But we did things together because of Cub Scouts. And Noah and Daniel, my 11-year-old, Greg's 10-year-old, if you want to separate them out, have been like this for years. Noah would come to my house, and stay the night. So we had a bit of an advantage, I would say, in that respect, because there was already a relationship there.
Right.
And I'll be real honest with you. The thing with Greg is that we did things with the kids because of Cub Scouts, and we did the project with the tape, and it was, there's one child, Connor, he was 3 when I come into his life. And before I loved any of the Eppersons, I loved that child. Like that one, I loved him.
Yeah.
But it finally got to the point where when Greg wasn't there, I missed him not being there, you know? So it just, the way that it evolved was just so natural, which is not to say that we do not have our own set of difficulties. I don't want to paint sunshines and rainbows for you because that is not how it is. But what is beneficial to us is, I think, the way that we go about our difficulties. We are united, and what by we, I mean Greg and I.
Right.
We are united. This is what it is. There's no his, hers, theirs. They're all ours. There's the standards and the rules for the house are the same across the board. It doesn't matter who you are. You are brothers and sisters. This is how it works, and this is just how we're going to do things. So we have solved struggles. We have solved difficulties. But for the most part, they're friends. Like Jonathan, our 16-year-old, and Benjamin, our 13-year-old. You couldn't slide a butter knife between those two. I mean, they are just stick together. They love each other.
That's so great. Like they get, and the ones, Noah and what was
Daniel.
Yes, you said like they were buddies before, and now they get to truly be brothers. Like that's a very cool thing. But
it is.
It's with that many personalities. I mean, it can't be sunshine and roses. It just can't. It doesn't matter if there's two or if there's It's a lot, and I think if you, like you say, if you're a united front, because I think that becomes a situation where those are my kids and those are your kids. We're trying to combine them, but I don't want you doing that to my kid, and you aren't allowed to. No. It has to be united to make it run smoother, right?
It does. It does. And that, for us, that's key. Like, we are your parents. You are our children. It doesn't matter. They are mine. They are his. They are ours together. There's no differences. And it's for us, that has worked. That approach has worked. But we do have a stud farm, okay? And personalities conflict, but that's in a that's pretty in that's in a family that's not blended. I mean, everybody has different personalities. You get on each other's nerves sometimes. But I'm going to tell you, when the little boy at school bit Lily and we found out about it, the boys are like, you better that doesn't happen. I looked right at her and I said, you better go to school and tell that little boy when we come, we roll up 9 deep, baby.
She's got protection. Holy.
She does, but she can hold her own.
Well, she has to.
Benjamin's laying in the floor the other day. It's been a little while ago, but minding his own business, and she comes running full force, elbow, wow, right to the back of the head, and I was like, Lily, we can't do that. So I don't know.
You'd have to, in a family of all boys, you'd have to hold your own. She's going to be a strong girl, that one.
She is. I had her in the bedroom the other day. We had tools, and she and David upgraded. They got new beds. They moved up from toddler beds to twin beds, but she had to help put it together, you know. So we're in there learning what an Allen wrench is and all of that stuff.
That's good.
Yeah, she's doing good. I wish I could show you a picture of all of our kids so that you could try and pick out which ones you thought belonged to who.
So
it's a game.
Yeah, I bet. Well, and they're all in fairly similar ages too, so that's that is very cool.
We get asked all the time how our twins are. They think 2 sets of our children are twins. Wow, it's crazy.
Yeah, wow. You guys really did find each other at the right time.
We did. It's amazing.
It's so awesome.
It is. I pray everybody is able to find that. Everybody.
Yeah. Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. Well, I think, do you have anything you want to say? We've been on for almost an hour, so let me let you get back to your day. What would you like to say to kind of wrap everything up?
You know, I'm grateful to you. I'm
Oh,
grateful to you for what you do in the industry, for making the industry more aware of the stigmas, and for fighting against it and for going against the current. I would like to tell all of the women in every industry
hmm,
that to be scrappy,
yeah.
be persistent, have a
Hmm.
voice, stand
Yeah.
out, be bold, be brave, go
Hmm.
against the grain, go against the current. And if somebody tells you you can't, whether it's male or female, look at them and say, yes, I can, and then show them you can.
Yes.
Show them.
There's going to be more to come. I've
Yes.
got plans for a lot of things coming up this year. There's going to be more to come from all of us amazing women in this industry and the amazing men too. So
Yes.
thank you. So I am so glad last time you were supposed to come on just did not happen very well. I was mortified with
It's
myself.
okay.
Oh my gosh, you were so kind and just so like just understanding. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you coming on and just sharing your story. It's been an awesome conversation. I'm so happy you were on. You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you so much, Carla.
All right. And everybody that's watching, we'll go through the comments. There's comments on here, so we'll go through them after and answer them. But thank you guys all for watching, and
Yes. Thank you.
we will see you guys all next Saturday. Bye for now.
Bye.